All right, let's dive into the story. Have you ever wondered what truly makes a music production setup shine? If you're here, chances are you're chasing the perfect combination of hardware and software to create your next masterpiece. Whether you're a producer just starting out or someone with a room full of gear, this video will unpack everything you need to know about building a PC for music production, or even deciding if you need one at all. And trust me, this will be 30 minutes well spent. By the end of this video, you'll have a crystal clear idea of what matters, what doesn't, and how to avoid wasting your money. Let's start with a story. Imagine a young producer. Let's call him Chris. Chris has just watched dozens of videos about the ultimate music production setup and is convinced he needs a $5,000 PC with a 16-core CPU, a top-tier GPU, and an entire wall of RGB lights. Sounds impressive, right? Well, Chris goes ahead, buys all that gear, and sits down to make music, only to realize his setup doesn't magically compose beats or mix tracks. Why? Because he focused on all the wrong things. Here's the truth. For music production, it's not about having the flashiest PC. It's about having a system that gets the job done. And guess what? Most music production software doesn't care about GPUs or RGB lights. What it does care about is your CPU, your RAM, and your storage speed. Let me explain why. First up, the CPU. Think of your CPU as the heart of your setup. When you're loading up tracks in FL Studio, Ableton, or Cubase, your CPU is doing the heavy lifting, processing effects, running plugins, and keeping everything in sync. The more complex your project, the harder your CPU works. So if there's one thing to invest in, it's a powerful CPU. An Intel i7 or i9 or AMD's Ryzen 7 or 9 will handle most tasks without breaking a sweat. Now, let's talk RAM. Ever tried opening a project with 100 tracks, only to watch your software freeze? That's where RAM comes in. RAM gives your PC the space it needs to juggle all those tracks and samples. For most producers, 16 gigabytes is a good starting point, but if you're working on massive projects or using sample libraries, 32 gigabytes might be worth it. Storage is another big deal. If you're still using a hard drive, you're living in the past. An SSD will make everything faster, loading projects, accessing samples, even booting your system. Trust me, once you switch to an SSD, you'll never go back. Here's the fun part. GPUs. A lot of people assume they need a high-end graphics card for music production. But unless you're also into video editing or gaming, you don't. Most DAWs don't even touch your GPU. So, save that money and put it towards something more useful, like a good audio interface or studio monitors. Speaking of which, let's talk about peripherals. Your PC is important, but the real magic happens with your audio gear. A solid audio interface will give you cleaner recordings and lower latency. Studio monitors let you hear your mix accurately, and a good pair of headphones is essential for late-night sessions. If you're serious about your sound, don't skimp on these. And here's a hot tip. If you're on a tight budget, consider a MacBook Pro. Yes, they're more expensive up front, but macOS is incredibly stable for music production. Plus, most DAWs run smoothly on even the entry-level models. If portability is a priority, a MacBook might be your best bet. Now let's address a common misconception. A lot of people think they need the latest and greatest gear to make professional quality music. But here's the thing. Some of the biggest hits in history were made on equipment that's ancient by today's standards. What matters more is how you use what you have.
So, if you're building a setup, focus on the essentials. Start with a good CPU, enough RAM, and an SSD. Add an audio interface and quality monitors. Don't get distracted by flashy components or features you don't need. Remember, your goal isn't to impress your friends with a glowing PC, it's to make amazing music. And for those of you who already have a setup, here's a challenge. Spend a week focusing entirely on your workflow. Are you organizing your projects efficiently? Are you backing up your files? Sometimes, the biggest improvements come from how you use your gear, not upgrading it. Alright, before we wrap up, let me ask you this. What's the one thing holding you back from producing your best music? Is it your hardware? Your software? Or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. That's it for now, folks. Stay tuned, stay creative, and keep making music. See you in the next one.
And that's the beauty of music production. It's not about the fancier tune or the biggest podcast. It's about creativity, skill, and making the most of what you have. The right setup isn't the one that looks impressive. It's the one that helps you bring your idea to life effortlessly. So whether you're just starting out or refining your craft, remember that the magic isn't in the zeal, it's in you. Keep creating, keep experimenting, and let the music speak for itself. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end, and see you in the next video.